Hello, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. كيف حالك? You good?
Yes, I'm good.
MashaAllah. I'm pleased to hear that, brother. Have we spoke
Okay.
before?
No,
No. Where are you based? من وين أنت? أي مدينة?
I'm from the holy Islamic city of Hebron.
Khalil. I was there the other day. I was on the roof of Marat Amachpelah, the Ibrahimi Mosque, Masjid
Yeah.
Ibrahimi. I was on the roof. It's incredible. Have you ever been up there on top?
No.
So it's amazing because you can see like the Jewish built part, you can see the Christian Byzantine church, and then you can see the minarets like the were used by the Muslims.
We can't go to the top of the mosque.
But maybe before in the past you could have. I know now you can't, but back in the day,
Yes, before the
um,
occupation.
bro, this is my thing. There, I'm speaking to Palestinians every day, and they tell me about this occupation. I go to Khalil. You all drive Range Rovers. You all drive Rubicons. You drive the Porsche Cayenne. I then drove up to Michmas. I was just showing someone. This is I'm making some content at the moment on. I'm going to call it the palaces of Palestine. Like you guys
Uh,
have big villas. It's like I'm looking for the occupation, and all I'm seeing is
okay,
mansions and
first
Range
of all,
Rovers.
okay. First of all, not all of us. It's a minority. Every place have rich people. So we have poor people and rich people. And to be honest with you, all of us, uh, rich people and poor people, our life is restricted. It's not easy to go from city to city. It's not. We can't right now after the 7th of October. We can't go
But even this, I
to.
don't believe because I drive down Route 60, the road from Khalil to Bethlehem,
No,
and
actually, we can go from the cities in the West Bank. I can go from Hebron to Bethlehem, from Bethlehem
yeah.
to Ramallah, but it's dangerous, and we can't do it
So,
anytime.
what do you mean it's
Uh,
dangerous? What do you mean? How is driving down Route 60 dangerous?
because there are a lot of Israeli soldiers and settlers, and it's dangerous
So,
because if they get
50% of the 50,
suspicious that I'm going to do anything, they will shoot me.
so what I would grant you, if you were to tell me that for me to drive into certain, like let's say you're driving from Hebron to Bethlehem, and
Hmm.
you take a left and you go into Gush Etzion, and you have to
Hmm.
drive through a checkpoint, and they slow
Okay.
you down and they ask for. I would say, okay, yeah, fair. I believe you. That's a real thing. You will have to show ID. You'll have to be, and if you've got the yellow plate, you'll probably go straight through.
Hmm.
But if you're telling me that it's dangerous to drive down Route 60, I'm going to say, bro, I don't believe you because like all the cars on Route 60 are Palestinian. They never get stopped. They drive wherever they want. They drive. You can drive from Bethlehem to Hebron to Khalil with no problem, no checkpoints, nothing. Like, where's the danger? You're gonna get. You think you're gonna
There
get sniped
around,
from?
okay, I'll tell you, around our city, okay,
Yeah,
in Hebron, there are many gates, and most of times after the 7th of October, we
they
did not
closed them.
7th of October,
Yeah,
but many of them, not many of them, the most of them, they are closed,
I agree with
okay,
that. I think that's truthful. That I've seen the
and
gates closed. I don't disagree with that.
yes, yeah, and in the highway, okay, it's a dangerous to go for the most of people, okay, because there are a lot of settlers and a lot of soldiers. As I told you, if they get suspicious that you will do anything, they will shoot you, and many of people they were killed because of this.
So give me an example. Like, I do agree with you that there can be danger. So let's say you're approaching a checkpoint, and for whatever reason, like this is one of the things I think is genuinely tragic. Anywhere else in the world,
You're
if you
trying to
have
say that the occupation is good for us.
I think that you have one of the best qualities of life in the world because of the occupation. There is money
You can say
flows in.
that
I'll give you an
about the
example.
people.
I was at a distillery, a Christian distillery in Taiba, north of Quds,
You can
near
say that
Ramallah.
about. Okay, I'll tell you something. You can say that the best quality of life about the people inside Israel. Okay, the Arab people in Israel.
I'm
But
talking
we
even
are
about the.
not.
I'm talking even about the Palestinians living over the
Bro,
Green
I'll tell you
Line.
something. The people who have a French passport or a Britain passport, American passport, they live in my country better than me because they can go everywhere. I can't go to Jerusalem. Okay, right now it's impossible for me to go to
But
Jerusalem.
it's
It's
impossible for me
impossible.
to go to Khalil unless I sneak
No,
in.
it's not.
97% of Khalil is banned to Israeli citizens, even though
This is
Khalil
from
used
your
to be
government.
Jewish. Hebron.
From this is from your government.
And because of the Palestinians requesting it, it was a request from the authority that Israelis don't enter it.
Okay, but actually, we can't go to Israel, okay, in any way. Even the permission right now, I can't get a permission to enter
But
Israel
I,
or
I
enter
can't go. I
Jerusalem.
can't go to Saudi.
What do you mean? Do you mean it's a good thing right now for me to
So
live in an area?
I think that billions of dollars flows into the Palestinian community because of the
Okay,
myth
I'll
of the
tell you
oppression.
something. I'll tell you something. It's not okay for me that Jews can't come to Hebrew. Okay,
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with Jews, actually. And I was kidding with you when I said the Holy Islamic of Hebron,
yeah.
the Holy Islamic city of Hebron. I was kidding. Okay, it's a holy place for Jewish and Muslims and even Christians. But actually, I think it's not okay for us to prevent any people to come to Hebron. Okay,
So
but
I
do you think it's good thing for Israeli government to prevent me from going to Jerusalem?
yes and no. And what I mean by that, I'm not being a lawyer. I mean yes, because there's a very real terror threat. Unfortunately, October the 7th is very real. I know for a fact that I can go if I dress like this and go into Khalil. I go into I've got a British passport, so I go into Palestinian cities regularly. But I go in disguise, and if anyone were to see that I was Sayhuni or Israeli, that it wouldn't or Yehudi, it wouldn't go well. I know that you could come into almost any Israeli city. I mean, I'd say any Israeli city, and there would be no problems because Arabs are in every city, even in the settlements. I mean, you know that all the construction in the settlements, all the roads that are built, it's all built by Arabs. I mean, that's where a lot of the wealth comes from. The wealth either comes from Europeans and Americans or from construction with Israel. That's most of the money that the Palestinians have. My thing is, I don't think you're oppressed. I would love for me and you to be able to visit Hahabayit, Masjid Al Aqsa, and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I genuinely would love that to be the reality. But because of the security, the genuine security risk, that isn't the
Okay, I
case.
can I can understand your justifications, but we still live in a restricted life, so it's not a good life here to
So,
live.
for you personally, like, forget like I was in Michmas and Turms Aya, and I see the houses, I see the
Bro,
cars,
so,
that they have
so,
money,
do
but
you
you're
think I'm making a propaganda because I say I'm not living a good life? Do you think it's a
no,
very
no.
good life?
I'm saying you come across as an ordinary Palestinian. You're not living in an 18-bedroom house driving a G wagon. And by the way, I see so many G wagons in Khalil. But
Okay,
I'm guessing you're
what
just
does
an
that
ordinary
mean?
Palestinian.
Look, bro, I'm not saying that we are angels and you are
Yeah,
devils. What I'm saying that our situation right now, especially after the 7th of October, is horrible, not good.
yeah,
Our life is restricted. We can't, even the workers, they were going to Israel to work and bring money to the West Bank. Right
yeah,
now, they don't go to Israel. So we have economic problem,
yeah,
and even the authority, the Israeli government. I don't know how to say that in English, but they prevent them from getting their money. They have money in Israel.
yeah.
Okay, I think you know about what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, Israel's responsible for collecting the taxes, and Israel is withholding some of those
Yeah.
taxes from being paid because of pay to
So the
slay and things
government,
like.
our government, they pay the employees, okay, um, less than the half of their salaries. So we have a very big problem. So it's right now our life it's not good. So if you see somebody with a van, how to say that, fancy car,
Fancy car, yeah.
yeah, that does not mean all of us live a very good life and a very comfortable life.
I no, I know that, and I agree with you. I see as many old cars as what you tend to get is you get really nice cars or really rubbish cars.
Yeah,
You and I agree there are areas of your life that are not as free as mine. So it's much easier for me to travel than it is for you to travel. You have to, if you want to leave, you have to go via Allenby. I don't need to go to Jordan. I can leave from Israel. We have an
yeah.
airport, you don't. So I would definitely say that there are areas where you could have greater freedoms. There are areas where you could have a better quality of life. And I think it largely comes down to movement. I would agree with the very fact that we have security gates on, and it's just wherever there's a city that backs onto a road that Israel is responsible for, Israel will control those points of movement for security reasons. I wish it wasn't the case. I wish you could come to Jerusalem and pray Masjid al-Aqsa, Hahabayit with me. I genuinely do that. I wish we had I wish my children, I got beautiful children, had the same freedoms as your children. Your children had the same freedoms as mine.
Mm.
What I'm trying to dispel is I think that many people in the West, they have this image of a Palestinian as this impoverished peasant riding on a donkey, who can't move from Khalil to Beit Lechem without getting attacked by wild, long-haired, crazy settlers. Most of the settlers are accountants and lawyers. They live in normal houses, normal families. And people think the settlers are all these crazy kids who are living out in tents in the middle of a hill in the middle of nowhere. They're not. The majority of settlers are just ordinary families. Just like the majority of Palestinians aren't Hamas. They're just ordinary families. Like, I'm
I
pretty
know,
sure.
I agree with you. There is a propaganda, okay,
Yeah.
about Israel, especially after the war in Gaza. Um, and I think our core problem is in our identity as Palestinians, because it was made by Arab nationalists to make us fight Israel. Okay.
I agree completely. This is what I believe. I believe what you just said.
Yeah,
And
but also you have problems.
I
Uh,
agree. We have lots of problems, and we're getting
yeah,
more problems. Our problems are increasing. So I think we have more in common than you realize. So I think you should have the same rights as me in this land. I think that everything that's available to me should be available to you. I genuinely believe that, whether it's the right to vote. My belief is, I don't think that Israel and Palestine can coexist. I think Zionism and Palestinianism are two contradictory ideologies that believe that they have the right to the entirety. So I've never seen a Palestinian, except there's two I know. One lives in Wales, the other's a Christian living in America, that draws Palestine as the West Bank and Gaza. Every Palestinian draws Palestine as Western British Mandatory Palestine, which includes Israel. And Israelis increasing. 20 years ago, most Israelis would have supported the two-state solution. Today, it's dead. No Israeli wants a Palestinian state next to Israel.
mhm.
And so what I want Israel to just go to Khalil and say, Khalas, forget it. If you want it, here's your passport, Israeli passport. You can vote in the elections. You can work in Haifa. You can work
Yeah,
in
I agree with
Jaffa.
you, but these are dreams because unfortunately, most of the people on both sides they are brainwashed. It's very hard to convince them. It's very hard to convince my people, okay, to be like me, because the IDF they make the mission of the Iran and Qatar and Hamas much easier to brainwash
Yeah.
people. Okay, so it's very hard to convince people to coexist with each other and rid of their identities. I think it will take a lot of time, but yeah, this is the life. We need to be stoic a little bit.
What I completely agree. And so my life mission, by the way, is to do exactly what you described. like I'm hardcore Zionist. I push for Israel, strong, secure Israel with every fiber of my being. But the most inspirational person I ever met wasn't an Israeli; it was a Palestinian, and he was jailed for terrorism. He threw a grenade at the IDF, and while he was in jail, he began to research his enemy, and he realized that the Jewish people had been to hell. They'd looked Shaitan in the eyes, and they'd survived. And he made it his life mission to build peace between Jews and Israelis. He went to the UK, he studied the Holocaust, and he came back to Quds, to Jerusalem, married a woman, had a family, and then the IDF, a soldier in the IDF, shot his daughter dead, 9 years old. And instead of just going on a rampage and hating the Israelis, these people he'd empathized with, he supported, who then took the most dear thing from him, his daughter. And Israel compensated his family, not like any monetary amount will ever make amends for the loss of a child. But it was an admission that his daughter should not have died. It was a tragic, horrible mistake. And he devoted his life to peace. And I remember him telling me that Yusuf, my name is Yusuf, peace is going to come eventually. We're not going to kill each other forever, and you can either be a barrier to it or you can help bring it. So my goal is to make peace with Palestinians, is to make peace with Arabs and for us to coexist. And I think one of the biggest issues we have is we don't speak. Like, the majority of people in Khalil don't speak to Israelis unless they're working in Israel, and
we don't understand your narrative, and we don't understand your psychology, and you don't understand our psychology and our narrative very well. Actually, you understand our narrative much more than us. Okay, we don't understand your narrative. We just listen to the propaganda. We don't know your narrative very well. Unfortunately, I talk with people from United States, from all over the world. They know much more than the ordinary Palestinian person in Palestine about Israel. Okay, about the Israeli society, let's say. So this is a very bad problem. We need to solve.
I think the problem's even. I think most Palestinians don't even understand the Palestinian narrative. Like, I speak to so many Palestinians. Let me preface this with: I believe you have every right to live in the land. So what I'm saying doesn't take away from my belief that you have as much of a right to live here as I do. Most Palestinians I speak
what
to.
About, okay, let's say we abolished the Palestinian identity.
Yeah.
And we want to coexist with you, and everything is okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But what about Ben Gvir and Smotrich?
So they're a minority. I mean, they're growing. They're growing in
They're growing, and they are dominant.
They're not dominant. They're dominant. I don't mean to speak ill of another Jew, but the Kuzari says the empty vessel makes the loudest noise. And so they make a lot of noise, but they're only in the coalition because Netanyahu needs them to maintain a coalition and to maintain remain in power. And the parties they represent are fringe, they're small. That's not to say they haven't. Since October 7th, their support has grown. I'd be delusional to say otherwise, but they're definitely not the majority. And so I also think that the Ben Gvir and Smotriches would be moderates if they were Palestinians. They would be like about Mahmoud Abbas. That would be the equivalent in terms of rhetoric. And so I think the majority of Israelis pre-October the 7th wanted coexistence, would entertain a two-state solution. I think that's dead. But I think the majority of Israelis also work every single day with Arabs, because there's over 2 million Arabs that live in Israel alone. Forgetting the Palestinians over the Green Line, in Israel, I can't go to a shop in Jerusalem without encountering Arabs working there, Arabs shopping there. I can't go to hospital without getting treated from an Arab. Half of the doctors in Israel are Arabs. So every single Israeli, whether they support Ben Gvir or whether they support Meretz, a left-wing party, they put their hands in the lives of Arabs every time they're sick, every time they're ill. They go to hospital. They trust an Arab with their life, and
Mhm.
so we can coexist. We do coexist. The bigger issue is, I think, the Palestinians who cling on to this idea that there will be a Palestinian state. I think there could have been, and maybe in centuries to come there could be. But Israel is the most powerful military in the region, and
I think
Israelis.
it's a very bad idea to create a Palestinian state because, at the end of the day, it will make wars with Israel.
That's
Okay,
what I believe, and I could, yeah.
but also I think it's very hard to live with Israeli right wing uh, because they don't want us. They consider us a demographic threat for them, and they don't want us to be part of their country. Okay, so I think we can't live with you in a one country, but I think we need to abolish our identity to how to say that, to rid of our identity, to make our government local governments like for
Yeah.
each city, not a Palestinian government.
So like almost like the Emirates. So
Not Emirates, no, that will make a lot of problems for us. But local administrations,
yeah.
I think
So
this will be the best solution.
and then just freedom of movement throughout Israel, work in Israel, do whatever, travel from
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
So that I would love a solution like that. My issue is not like my issue is not Arabs. My issue is not Palestinians. My issue is the conflict. My issue is that today I know which villages I can enter, and I'm okay, and I know which ones I can't. Whenever you study the data in terms of where the conflict is, it's 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 literal village by village. We know where the issues are. When you ignore the hotspots, the violent spots, I can have a beautiful existence with most Palestinians I meet on a daily basis. I shop in Palestinian shops all the time. It's the closest I can get because it's like if I spend too much time in Palestinian territories, I'm going to lose my head. And I quite like my head, at least on my shoulders. But what you've painted is a world which I would love to see happen because I think there could have been a two-state solution in 1948, maybe in 67. But today, our people have made a series of decisions which makes that impossible.
yes, it's
And
impossible.
while I don't think you're oppressed in in the way that most people in the West would say, I would agree that you have less freedoms than I have. Freedom of movement being one of the biggest examples of that. And I think most of it is self-inflicted. I don't think Israel has put limitations on movement because Israel is cruel and evil and wants to hurt the Palestinians. Those yellow gates backing onto Route 60, the road we've been discussing, are there for security reasons. And if the security
Yeah.
threat wasn't there, there would be freedom of movement. That's what I want to see. I don't want you to have to. I know, for instance, that I want to go to Jerusalem.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
I
easier.
understand you, bro.
Yeah.
I know, I understand your justifications or your concerns about the terrorist attacks in Israel. And before the year of 2000, there was not a wall between the West Bank
Yeah.
and Israel. There was a freedom to how did you say that?
The movement, freedom of movement. You could
Yeah,
move. Yeah.
freedom of movement. Yes. So I hope we will come back to that era or a much better era,
You
where
said
we can coexist and live with each other.
you said you said what about the Ben Gvirs and the Smotriches and the Israeli right? Do you want to know what the best solution the best answer to Ben Gvir or anyone who you see as hostile is you. You are the best solution. And what I mean by that is you're not my enemy. You want to live on the land. You don't want to fight with me. You don't want more than like Jews don't want to be a dhimma. They don't want to be one of the dhimma. They don't want to pay the jizya. But similarly, Arabs don't want to be under the Jews either. We want to be equal. And what you're proposing puts us as equals, equal under law, right to vote, self-determination. And so I think you are the best solution, the best answer to Israel's right. We need more Israelis to hear voices like yours rather than the extremists that we hear from various masjids or various groups that I won't mention. But if Israelis heard people like you, it would be much easier for some of those concerns to be alleviated. And so, Jazakallah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you with nothing but goodness, brother, because you're one of the most open-minded Palestinians I've spoke to on here. So yeah, I'm very impressed with what you said.
Okay. Actually, I think also for us, if you were tolerant with normal civilians, okay, especially in the West Bank, it will be much easier to convince them to be open-minded and to convince them that our also we have problems in our society. We need to change our identity. Okay, in this era, under this situation, actually, I can't talk with people, and people like me can't talk with people because they are under a very bad situation. But I hope we will reach the point that we have a freedom of speech, and we can talk with people. We can change our identity to be much more open-minded and tolerant, let's say, and that's it.
And I just want to say, we started the conversation with like oppression, not oppression, and we've ended the conversation in complete agreement. It just shows the power of dialogue, the power of talking to each other rather than just assuming. And so, yeah, may everything you said come to fruition in our lifetime, if not our lifetime, our children's, because we cannot kill each other forever. We cannot kill each other forever.
Exactly, yes. I agree with you.
Jazakallah khair. Actually, my brother. God bless.
Hello, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. We spoke last night. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
I'm pleased to hear that, bro. I enjoyed our conversation. It was refreshing.
But I want to talk with you, if you don't mind, about your video on YouTube. I used to say to my friends that the resistance, the Islamic resistance, and even the secular resistance, they made the Israeli right wing rise.
They do. You're absolutely right.
But they said to me that anyway, if even if you don't resist Israel, Israel will always expand its borders. They will expand their borders, and they will kill people, even if there's no justifications. So, what do you think about this? What should I say to them?
Truthfully, I think that's
They used to show me what Ben Gvir said and Smotrich said. They say that they want to kick us out of our houses and out of our country. So do you think that will happen?
I think they're fair to say that there are some Israelis that want that. I do think there are some Israelis. I don't think they're the majority. I think it's a fringe. I think they're small in number, but they're growing, and I think they're growing for the reasons you said. Ben Gvir has views that I don't like. So you're Hebroni, you're from Khalil, and he has a picture he had a picture of Baruch Goldstein on his wall. For me, there's no justification. For me, Baruch Goldstein murdered innocent people when they were praying. Yes. He may have been a doctor that saved the lives of Arabs. He may have witnessed 6 of his friends killed recently, and that's horrible. And my heart would go out to him. But to go into a mosque and then murder boys and men as they're praying, that's also it's unjustifiable. And for a politician to have a picture of someone like that in their wall, that's no different than honoring someone like, oh yeah,
Yes,
sure, yeah.
exactly.
So what I would tell your friends is more. It's not that those people don't exist, because they do exist. It's that Israel has first. I would say it's a projection, because I imagine those same friends, if they could, press a button and all the Israelis would go out of Israel, out of Palestine, go to Europe, go to Morocco, go wherever, they'd press that button. So first, I would imagine every single one of them is guilty of what they're accusing the Israelis of wanting. But the second thing I would point out is all the concessions that Israel has made. I think the most obvious one being when Olmert offered in 2008 the West Bank as a Palestinian state, with Gaza, with East Jerusalem as its capital, with the Holy Basin and the Old City under the custodianship of the Palestinians, the Israelis, the Jordanians, the Saudis, and the Americans. So Israel and America, then 3 Arab entities, Muslim entities, and so that all people could pray there. And the Arabs said no. At every opportunity the resistance was offered a state, the resistance has said no, because the resistance wants from the river to the sea. And I think because of that stance, they've lost from the river to the green line. Because I think there's no,
Yeah, absolutely.
I can count the Israelis I personally know on like 2 hands
As I
that now want a
told you, we have
two-state
a
solution.
problem in our identity. Okay, our
Yeah,
national identity. It's completely false, and it was built to fight you.
I
Uh,
agree.
yeah, so it's a very bad ideology, and we need to rid of this ideology, and we need to coexist with you to build alternative identity. Okay, but
Completely agree with you.
But how can we do that right now in this era when we have Israeli right wing and they restrict our life? It's very hard for somebody
I
like me
wouldn't even.
to convince
I
people.
would go even further. I would say Israeli left wing also restricts your life. That in terms of restrictions, in terms of like movement, etc., as universally supported by most Israelis, and that our security comes at some of your liberty. And I think the reason that you lost those liberties is because of the decisions that Palestinians make today and that they've made in the past. But we can't change that. That's the reality. Those decisions have been made. Our people are fighting. And for me to travel to Hebron, I have to go through a red sign that says I shouldn't be there. But if I pull out a British passport, I can coast on through there. If you pull out a British passport and try and come the other side, even with a British passport, it's going to be difficult and in some instances not possible. In most instances, it will be fine. But you can even with a foreign passport like American or British, you may be sent via Allenby if they know that you're on the Palestinian population registry. So I agree that my security comes at your expense, and I'm
Okay,
not under any
okay.
illusion.
Let's make this hypothesis. Okay, all people like me, all Palestinian people like me, we love Jews. We want to coexist with you. What should we do uh, to make a solution?
I think the most powerful thing that you as an individual can do and people like you can do is be loud. I also think that's true for me. So I'm just an odd.
Okay,
So
okay, I
what?
will be loud. Okay, but let's make this hypothesis. Okay, that all people right now like me, like they want to coexist with you. They don't have problems with you, even the refugees. Okay, what should we do right now?
This is what I'm saying. I think if the Israeli civilian, the population, saw that there was a sizable number of Palestinians that want to coexist over nationalism. So you'll always have the nationalists, you'll always have the Islamists, the religious people who, for religious
Yeah,
reasons, they want their state. But if you can show that 50, 60, 70% of the Palestinians that live in the land today, they don't care about the Palestinian flag. They don't care about Hamas's religious objectives. They just want a good life. They want to be able to vote in an election. They want to be able to be represented in government. They want to be able to book a cheap flight and go on holiday to Europe from an airport without having to go through hours at Allenby or Ben Gurion if, for whatever reason, they're flying into Ben Gurion, the Jerusalemites. I think if you can show that there's a sizable population, the Israelis will fall over themselves to make peace with that people. And that's why I said, what's the path to peace? It's whether it's a silent majority or a silent minority, I don't know, but that population, that group of Palestinians finding a voice, because if they find that voice, that's the path to coexistence. Because the only other path, if it isn't one of coexistence and living together, then it's one of war. And because of the history, where we are today, Israel is far more powerful. And if it comes to war, the Arabs will lose again and again and again, certainly for many, many years to come. And there will be many more dead Palestinians than there will be Israelis. October 7th was the worst trauma we've experienced since the Holocaust. And that was 1,300 killed. I mean, granted, in an incredibly cruel and brief time window. But in Gaza, it's now 70,000 dead, with maybe another 10,000 unaccounted for. So maybe as many as 80. And a lot of those are fighters. But even if half of them are fighters, that's still half of them are civilians. That's the biggest trauma the Palestinians have experienced because of the actions of Hamas. And that will continue. You can hurt, not you, the Palestinians can hurt us, but they can't destroy us. And however much they hurt us, Israel typically hits back 10 times as hard. And so the pain that the Palestinians suffer will be much greater. And so I think the path that's best for you and the path that's best for me is if those Arabs that live in Judea and Samaria, live in the West Bank, are able to find a voice and find a seat at the political table where they're not pursuing a state like the Palestinian Authority or looking to get rich like or they're not looking to establish the Khilafah like Hamas, even if it's just localized to Palestine, Israel. If there's a party that genuinely just wants peace and can say that, and can say we're willing to live, and maybe it goes city by city, maybe Hebron's the first place, maybe Israel offers citizenship or residency to everybody that lives in Hebron. And if that works, then somewhere else is chosen. And you go bit by bit. Because I think that's another thing that could work as well, is if you're living in Jenin and you're in Balata or you're in one of the camps and it's terrible, your life sucks because the camps are typically the poorest parts because it's run by UNRWA, etc. Your life isn't great. And you look at Hebron, where they're voting in elections. They still have the Range Rovers and the Rubicons, but they can drive to Yafo. They can go to the beach. They can go to Masjid Al-Aqsa, not needing a permit, just driving through and flashing an ID. I think people would look at that as a beacon of hope. And I think that would be I think by example is the best path to peace. Is you can take a population of Palestinians. So maybe it starts with Area C, and you give them complete equality under the law. And everyone sees that. They see how they thrive. They see the benefits. I think that changes everything.
They will want to be like them. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I believe. I've lived here for 2 years, so I'm relatively new to the land. I was born in the UK, made Aliyah a couple of years ago. And one of my realizations is the people that I tend to have the best conversations with, they're often connected with people who used to work in Israel or worked in the settlements, and they had very good relations and regular contact with ordinary Jewish people. And they also benefited from the Jewish presence. I think together we can both benefit. And I don't mean that. I think Jews in Israel have turned Israel into a phenomenal economy, and I think that's lifted up the Palestinians that were living there. They've got the Arabs in Israel have an incredible high standard of education, high quality of life, and they often do much better than the Jews. And I think that's because of the democratic systems, the education, the various things that the state has put in place. I want that for Hebron. I want a Hebroni Arab to do as well.
Yeah, I'm so excited to that to happen. Actually,
Yeah,
I hope that will happen soon, and we will be independent from the Arabs around us, and we will have our representatives from our city. And
yeah.
actually, I'm so excited. I hope that
And
will happen soon.
And I think the way it happens, it has to come twofold. First, Israel has to grow a spine. One of the things that you want a criticism of Israel, you drive from Hebron to Jerusalem, and you'll see roads that are being widened, infrastructure, electricity, water, communities that are being built, new communities that are being built. Israel has no intention of leaving that area. And so one of the things that Israel needs to stop doing is playing this game where they tell the world we believe in a two-state solution while simultaneously doing everything that Israel can to build up Jewish or Israeli life in Area C. And so I think we need to be honest. And I think if Israel were to say, we're not leaving Area C, this is now Israel. Everyone in Area C now gets Israeli citizenship if they want it. Those guys begin to thrive. Then you move Area B. Maybe you go friendlier. Maybe you go to Hebron, where, interestingly, there is talk with local leaders, which cause them a lot of problems. But there is talk of the potential of establishing some form of independence.
I think if you destroyed the Iranian regime soon,
Yeah.
we will be able to make that happen soon. Okay, because they exploit us and they exploit our identity to make us fight you, and they make a lot of propaganda and they funded our organizations. So if you destroy them or make them not able to fund Hamas and these organizations, I think it will happen very soon, like maybe just many years from now.
I completely agree, and I think if you don't just sever those ties, but you strengthen ties with Palestinian institutions, with nations that want stability in the region, like the obvious being the Emiratis, that would benefit both of us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think I will talk with you more and more about many things.
Definitely message me on Instagram if because my DMs are open there.